So we were talking about data modeling, and within data modeling, we were talking about that ER diagrams are the one through which you are going to design data model. And ER mean entity relationship. Entity mean for anything you can store information. So basically table. So many tables are going to be there, and how these tables are related to each other, and how every table is going to store information and what information. So that is what we are going to define in one diagram, that is ER diagram. And you can use Microsoft Visio, Lucid Chart. Specifically, there's a tool called Irwin Data Modeler. That is the one you can also use when you work in office environment. Again, you won't be doing this, but you can be supporting a data modeler. You have to have understanding how ER diagrams is. So there are 4 steps of creating ER diagram. So 4 steps to create ER diagram. Number 1. The first thing you need to do when you're designing an ER diagram is you need to capture information from your architecture team, that okay, how many tables you want. So he or she is the one who's going to give you requirement on tables. You don't have to self do that. Your business will give you information, or business architecture, the team who's basically working on designing this, they will tell you, okay, Imran, we want 15 tables. So I'll say, can you specify those table names? So first thing I need to do is gather requirement and ask them and identify all the entities. First thing you need to do is you have to identify all the entities. So same time I'm going to draw that diagram one by one here. So let's suppose you have a database which you need to design for a university or a department. So one table is going to be for department, which will store department information. What is the department name and department location and whatever it is. That is education department or biology department or physics department or math or chemistry, whatever. Every department is going to have students. So we have to have a table called students. So that is another entity we should have. And again, I'm not building it myself. My business users are telling me how many tables they wanted. Table is going to be shown with this notation, this rectangle. Simple. This mean table. This another table in a department is going to be what? Anyone can tell me. What do you think? How many tables? What else we have? So for which we have to capture information. In a department there are students. What else?
Teaching staff.
So you have professors or teaching staff. What else? For which you have to store information.
Infrastructure.
No. Don't you offer any courses there?
Yes, of course.
There's a bursar where you pay bills. I think if that relates.
Admin, yes. So we can have an admin department where you can make payments and all those salaries and everything. Okay. And there is the department admin employee. They can be stored in admin or some. So let's suppose these are 4 tables we have. 5 tables we are going to have for a department. This is assignment given to us by department that they want us to build their database, and before building their database we are building a data model. So we are asking them how many tables you want, and they're highlighting that these are the 5 tables we want. So first thing we identify is the entity and shown by rectangle sign. Number 2, you need to identify, as I said, it is entity relationship diagram. You need to identify relationship, and you need to define, identify/define relationship between each table. It's possible that every table is not going to have relationship with every other table, but most table will be having relationship with each other. For example, if we take relationship from department to professor, there are 3 types of relationship which can exist. Generally 2, third one is very rare, but these are the types of relationship which can be in one database table, one to other database table. Number 1, 1-to-1 relationship. one table is connected to other tables one instance for one particular reason. 2, one table is connected to others tables many instances, one to many or m. And number 3 is many to many. Many instances of one table are interacting with the other tables many instances. For example, this one department, this is one department only. Department name is going to be only one all the time. Professors can be multiple, correct? So one department, so this is, we're gonna show one here, will recruit or have or hire many professors. In one department, most cases there are going to be many professors. So this is one relationship, one to many relationship which we have in department professor. And there's another relationship between department professor, because if we want to identify who's the dean of the department, and there could be only one dean. So professors are the one who will be dean, one of the professor will be dean. So one department have many professor and one department is headed by one professor. So both scenarios are there, that one department, once we want to pull information, we can pull all the professor information. Same time, we can connect these table to pull only the information of one person, which is the dean of the department. So we have two instances between department professor, both type of relationship. One to one relationship also exists, one to many relationship also exists. Department, one department cannot survive with one student. One department have many students, so you can pull many students from one department. So one to many relationship is there. There's no one to one relationship. Same way, student and courses. One student can enroll in many courses. At the same time, one student can only enroll if he want to. He's giving supplementary or it is summer, he can also register in one course. Same way, professors can be connected with student, that one professor can teach or would be teaching, don't have space, many students. So these are all the different instances which can occur, and again this requirement is given to you by your architecture. You simply need to draw these arrow. So these are crowbars, many shown like this, many relationship is shown like this. My pencil is acting up. If you have a table, this is many, and if it is also having one, then one as well as many. So one to one and one to many. So this is your second step where you are trying to define. Admin table is not connected to anyone. It should stay as is. So that's it. We don't need to. Courses can be connected to professor. One professor can teach many courses, as well as one professor can teach one course. So this is another relationship. One professor can teach many courses, and same time it can teach one course. So there's another relationship which exists between these tables. So these are, and many to many is very rare. It's not going to be part of all the tables or databases. So let's not even talk about this. Many to many mean many students can enroll in many courses, which is not logical. We are already having one student and one to many student, one course, one to many course. So this is not logical. So that is the second. Third step of your ER diagram is you need to identify primary key of each table or unique key of each table, because every table have to have one column which identifies, which differentiate every single record in a row. If you have 100 students, you have to have some criteria that these students have some kind of different attribute like student ID or student registration number, so we know which student is which. So same way, primary key of every table need to be decided. Primary key of student is going to be student ID, and it is like a use case. This is the notation for keys for data, and primary key will always going to have underline. Course title can also be used as primary key. Course ID can also be used as primary key. So let's suppose we are putting it course title, and this is the primary key of course. Admin, so employee ID would be there. Professors, professor registration or code number, something is going to be there. That is going to be primary key. It is going to be decided from all the data we have available. The one I explained you, that in your staging area you have setting all that raw data with all the information. They will be deciding which information can become primary key, which information can become rest of the attributes, data attributes. Department, we don't need to have department ID. Department itself have a unique name. So department name can be used. My pen is acting up. Department name can be used as the primary key of department table. So that is another. So this is how one by one we have defined that every table is going to have one unique column, one primary key column, which will differentiate every single row or record in the in that table. Fourth step is that these tables are not only going to store one information. Every table is going to to store multiple information. So you have to define and find out rest of the data which is going to become part of each table. So identify rest of the data attributes. So let's suppose student will have student name. You don't need to do any underline because this is simple data attribute. Only primary key will have underline. Student name, student date of birth, student address information, student class or structure, whatever he's enrolled in. Anything else which can go in student, that would become the data attribute of student table. Course will have course ID, course will have course name, course will have course duration, course will have, let's suppose, dedicated hall or classroom for it, and these are all the informations we can store. Admin, employee ID, admin salary, admin pay grade, or anything that admin join date, all those things can be there. Professor ID, professor name, any other information, address, his date of birth, his phone number, his contact information, email information, all these can be stored. And then you have department name, and only thing else we can store for department is maybe department location. So these are, so this is the fourth and last step. Now we know for our department these are going to be the tables, and each table is going to store all this information, within which this information, one information, is going to be called as primary key or unique key information. And when we draw this, you can draw through Visio, Microsoft Office, also Microsoft Visio, Lucidchart, Balsamic. This is all drag and drop. All these notations are available. You simply have to select ER diagram, data model diagram, and all the notation will be made available to you. And then you can simply drag and drop, same way as you've done on your use cases. Now, talking about the, what is happening? Hold on. Okay. So when I was talking about data models, I talked about three types of data model: conceptual data model, logical data model, physical data. So which one is this? When you identify the first step, when you're able to know and idealize that, okay, we are going to build a new data warehouse, and within that these should be the tables, or these are going to be ideally all the tables or entities which we need. That is your conceptual model. Your concept has been designed, developed. Now you know the concept that these are how many tables are going to be there. This is called conceptual model. Your first phase, your first step when you draw ER diagram, which is to identify entities, that is your conceptual model. identifying relationship between each table, identifying primary key of each table, identifying rest of the data attributes of each table. That these three steps, they have your logical model. This is your complete logic. And when you pass on this information to the development design team who are going to move this data into the final source system, final database, once that is ready, and now you can see all these tables, all these data attributes, everything, that actual final stage of your data would be called physical model. Within ER diagram, you have conceptual model, logical model, and then once you eventually finally implement your model, that is called physical model. Okay. All right. This is complete ER diagram. These are all three models you can see. Now what you can do is you can figure out if you want to design, you can just draw a rough one. I don't need you to draw through a tool or something. On a piece of paper you can draw. Let's suppose you go to Dunkin' Donuts, you see, okay, let's suppose if Dunkin' Donuts tells me that, okay, can you build our data model? What do you think, what information we need? So within Dunkin' Donuts, how many tables are going to be there, each table store going to store what information, like whatever products they have, whatever customers they have, whatever the the employees they have, whatever sales level data they have, all that can be designed. Or a library you go to, if you want to help a library to design their data model, how many tables can be there, books table and all those different shelf table. So you can think of yourself on your own, that if I want to create a data model of anything, school or a library or a dealership or any business or a grocery store, how many tables can be there, and each table what kind of relationship should be there, and what kind of data that should be entered in each table. So that is the final assignment. Again, that is not mandatory. It is up to you if you want to do it. Otherwise, this is not mandatory. As I said, this is not something you will be doing. But if you know it and you're working with the data teams and all that, it will be very easy for you to perform your role in terms of gathering and helping them gather this requirement. Because anyway, you are going to gather this requirement from business users or architecture and pass it on to the modeler, and modeler will be drawing these diagrams. But if you know the concept, it will be easy for you to understand what is ER diagram, what is one-to-one relationship, one-to-many relationship, how you define primary key, and then rest of the data keys. So that covers your data warehousing part 2, and that covers your whole BA course in terms of software development lifecycle. We've covered requirement gathering, we've covered requirement analysis, now we've covered data analysis as well. We have done documentation part, we have done the testing part, okay, all those things. The most important aspect of SDLC we have covered pretty much everything. So I'll be sending day 9 notes, readings, links which need to go through to read these definitions. One more thing I missed. There could be a simple question which can come, that can you tell me what ETL tools you know or your team used? So there are ETL tools which will be used to do extraction of data. I'm not going to use them, but because I'm working with that team, so I need to know what tools they are using, environment they are using, and then reporting tools, what reporting tool your team was using in the project. So you need to know these tools as well, only the names, not the usage. So ETL tools which are being used currently are Cognos, Informatica, and SSIS by Microsoft SQL, by Microsoft of SQL Server. SSIS, Informatica, Cognos. These are most commonly used ETL tool to pull data, transform data. And reporting tools could be many. Tableau is one. Reporting tool mean the tools which can draw reports, dashboards, pie charts, nav, bars, all those things. Visualization basically to help business users understand data properly. So Tableau, Spotfire, and Power BI. These are all the reporting tools. Just the name of it, that should do. That covers everything in your data warehousing lecture. If you guys have any questions, you can ask me. And tomorrow is off. Off doesn't mean off. Off mean go through all these things. There's one lecture I'm uploading. Today's lecture will have two recordings. I'll mention day 9 part 1 data warehousing, day 9 part 2 data warehousing, because I was logged out. So this will have 10-15 minutes extra recording. And then there's another third recording I'll be uploading by the name SQL Server Industry Session. Do not listen to first 30 minutes. If you want to, it's fine, but after 30 minutes, 31st minute, where I'm giving her the control and she's the one who's showing us actual SQL Server and how to work on it, all the queries. So please go through it, watch it. You can self-learn SQL as well, w3school.com. You can watch videos of a guy named Kud Venkat. He have explained every query, 2-3 minute short videos. So if you can also go on YouTube and search for Kud Venkat SQL, you will see 45-50 videos of his. You don't need to go in those. You simply need to go and see first 5, 7, 8, where he's mentioning all these basic queries. Or you can learn SQL from w3school.com, or simply follow that girl when she's showing you those queries, and then whatever she's saying in terms of downloading SQL and data, do that and practice yourself. Anyway, in each case, you'll be able to know about these basic SQL statements. Again, these are very basic and very interesting. And then once you are comfortable that now you know these queries, I'll send you 2-3 assignments simply, and you can do those assignments in 2-3 days, or one assignment at least, so you can look at the data and then perform what analysis I've told you to perform. So then you do that. Monday I'll also be taking your mock interviews on the course we have covered. I'll be also sending you questions, all the questions of BA I'm going to cover: testing, data warehousing, BA, all those documentation. I'm sending you list of 40-45 questions as well, so please go through them as well. Okay. Raji, I have given you access to this folder itself. So any video I load, I have it in this folder. Again, I'm going to make sure if you have the right access or not. Do you have access to this folder, Raji?
Hi, Imran.
Yes.
Hi, Imran.
I have given you access to this folder. All the
Oh,
videos are loaded there. So you can simply every day go there and open that folder. Again, I'm going to give you access one more time so it is easy for you to remember. Hold
and I have a first round of just text like with a vendor
on. Okay.
today.
Okay. What time?
Today it's at 2:30.
Okay. What is the requirement?
It's on mortgage. They say BA must have testing, create a loan.
Okay.
How does it get through the middle tier and into the vendor LOS? I don't know what LOS is. Is it line of service or
Loan origination
Loan
system.
rating system.
Loan
loan?
origination system.
Okay,
There's
into
a
vendor.
loan origination system which is used. This is a front end where once customer applies, fill in the application, system must respond, or the users must respond within the 72 hours. There's a compliance, HMDA compliance, which says that whenever somebody apply for mortgage, the answer should be given within 72 hours, yes or no. And loan origination system have
Mm-hmm.
application which captures the information of customer, their net worth, income, whatever, and whatever loan they're applying for. And based on that information, the system runs the credit report from 3 credit bureaus. And then based on the information, the whole information is sent to underwriting team. Underwriting team can do manual on it, or there's an automated underwriting management system built in these applications, which does that calculation to identify if the customer is eligible to get this mortgage, and if they are eligible to get this mortgage, then what is the percentage and timelines and all those things, collateral, how much collateral, what kind of property, and then further the things start. If they get approved, then the title information, they need to build title on the property and on the customer name, so they hire a third party title agency. Usually exchange TM is one which is generally used in US. Exchange, they are the one who design those titles. So thoda sa, it's a vendor interview, is not going to go into too much of technical details. High level understanding achhi hai. When you go for your final round, I will sit with you go through everything in terms of your resume. And one more thing, Pavitra is giving her final round today on loan LOS with Fannie Mae. Once she's
Okay.
done with that, I'll
Okay.
ask you to call her before your final round, so she can
Okay.
explain you everything, because I've given her 2-hour lecture yesterday on loan and all that. I don't want to confuse you right now because it's just vendor interview. ठीक है? अगर if I
Correct.
put so much on you
Yes.
right now, simply know the basic loan origination life cycle क्या होता है, loan life cycle क्या है, mortgage life cycle क्या है. Simply check it on Google, watch images on it. ठीक है? जैसे let's suppose if I want to do it, here you go. Let's see. Mortgage life cycle. I'm simply gonna click on images.
Mhm.
And here's the mortgage life cycle.
Okay.
First point, what lenders origination, what happens in origination, loan processing and underwriting, what happens in loan processing and underwriting, closing and funding,
Mm.
post closing, and due diligence and servicing. So for example, origination, what happens? Phone based qualification, credit processing, rate output logs, required loan program disciplines, loan document indexing, all those things. The second is loan processing, underwriting and assessment, run automated underwriting, clear and sign off on loan conditions, fraud audits and all those things. So this is what any other application you open: origination, screening, underwriting, closing, and then servicing the loan. Servicing mean how to get the money back from them, monthly installment, and what mechanism you have to have in terms of servicing. So all these pictures are there, everything is there. Just know the basic stuff, open anything, and then you can also read them. So let's suppose if you want to read this picture, click on right side link, and this is the whole thing. It explains what is secondary mortgage and then what happens in mortgage, how it works, everything is here. ठीक है? So थोड़ा सा high level इसको देख
Okay.
लो, टेंशन नहीं लेनी है. And then once you
हाँ
are,
जी.
this is your first interview, ठीक है? Overwhelm बिल्कुल नहीं
Yes.
होना, overwhelm बिल्कुल नहीं होना है. कम्युनिकेशन तुम्हारी बहुत अच्छी है, बहुत ज्यादा अच्छी है, थोड़ी अच्छी नहीं है, तो इसका एडवांटेज
Okay.
नहीं है. वेंडर क्या देखते हैं कि बंदा कितना कॉन्फिडेंट.
I'm sorry to put you off. Are they gonna do it on Zoom or are you just gonna have a call? If you have a call, you can always write notes. I'm just wondering.
Yeah. Is it on call
It's on
or
Teams.
Zoom, or link is there something?
Zoom. Yeah, it's on Teams, Imran.